Okay, hey, train your plants every day. Jordan Scoville coming at you from the STEM Lab. So it's been a little while since I've done a video resume, so we're just gonna update it, if you don't mind. So been working at Johnson Roads here for about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half actually, and things have been going pretty good. I'm a machinist down there. I'm a sawyer. I'm an operator. A thermal. I finish. I do a little bit of everything. We'll get more into that here in a little bit. Some of the backlog on some of my work history is Devonian stone. I was a foreman assistant up there, treadline guy, arc shop guy, specialty shop, table saws, stuff like that. Tompkins, S&S Stone. I was a yard guy over to Tompkins. I worked one of their recut saws, their honing tables, did their tread line and their big gantry bays, unloading and stuff like that. S&S, I was their yard dog. I reorganized their entire yard, did all that kind of stuff with it. Integrated wood components, I was a CNC operator. I was their assembly line #1 position, a toe notcher, biscuit groover, industrial machines, cranking factory pace stuff. 70 hours don't scare me. I did lots of 60s and 70s over at Integrated Wood, 60s and 70s over to Devonian, and as a standard operation I work about 55, 60 over to Johnson & Rhodes right now. Knapp woodworking, custom cabinetry and stuff like that. So I got some work experience under my belt. Been around the block, if you will. As for Johnson & Rhodes, what I commonly do right now is I'm their smaller gantry, Italian gantry saw operator. I'm on saw 3. I do lots of treads. I run that system pretty much like it's a tread line. When I'm cutting treads, of course, I get multiple setups in my bay. I work accordingly with the space confinements that I have and timelines given to me. I have multiple orders on my plate at any one given time, and cranking it out all day. Do a lot of training people over there, a lot of shovel work. It's one of those things. It's a for real labor job. I'm not afraid to admit that. It's just the way it is. A lot of space and time management in terms of what that is. I call it the STEM mechanics, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics of any given position. Each one have a general tutorial as far as what I would consider the mainline operations to be. Let's see here. You're looking at certain block quality. You're grading right there. You're reading blocks. Looking for jack cracks, you're thermaling it, and then you're putting it to the table in stacks in a lot of cases. Or you're just singling them out, running what you can because that's what you can get out. And I try my best to give the boss man the best quotes that I can for those timelines. We do block sheets and things like that. How many cuts they get out of the gantry, the big saws, the 7, 11, 10, 5s and 4s for tread blocks and things like that. I cut them up on my table too. It's all computer terminals and things like that. And again, doing your own legwork, setting up your pallets and things like that. That is the main job operation for what I do. I work in line with the foreman the best I can. And when I say that, I mean command and conduct means a lot to me. It's very important to me. I understand a chain of command, and sometimes you just gotta, with rock, you just gotta listen, but I cover my ass the best I can. I lay everything out on the floor. If you want to do the, if you like quantum mechanics, the reverse time symmetry, to why I didn't get everything that I needed for the order out of everything that's there, well, there's probably a good reason for it. This quality wasn't good for it. I don't make many mistakes, so there's a functionable reason to why things didn't happen the way they should have. And I lay things out, I cover my ass. And when having to make difficult decisions on those things, I try to keep the two-man eye operation on that, which means, I usually know an answer, but I'll ask a senior officer in the shop their opinion on, you know, what should be done. It's not that I don't like to free think. I generally have that answer, but it's not my rock, it's not my mountain, and therefore I have to follow in line with the proper chain of command for that issue. Command and conduct, again, is a very important thing to me. I take workspace relationships in consideration. I'm not a very personal guy, but at the same time, you know, I understand for morale reasons and things like that. You have to keep it light and realistic, but obviously there's certain lines you don't cross. Too much. So again, I believe you can work with anybody. It's you know, never been much to me. You have to work with the skills given that you have, the skills that they have, develop a relationship under those ideas, and you know, eventually you will fill their holes and they will fill your holes, and you know, that's how you have great team dynamics. Communication, absolutely critical to me. I personally like a safety brief in the morning or an operational brief in the morning. It certainly seems to help things move a little bit slower. Again, proper communication with orders and timelines, and you know, if I need to hustle up, you know, that's not a problem for me. I try to keep a standard operational model that's at a high RPM, if you will. And, you know, if I need to double down after that, triple down, quad down in my timelines in terms of my operation, then I'm happy to. And again, building a good relationship with those ideas certainly definitely helps. So, you know, again, it's one of those things that, you know, every place I've ever been to, you know, it's one of those things that you have to get accustomed to with the people. Again, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is super important to me. One of the bigger notations to that is Erodes, Beals, and Fermat's conjectures. Erodes is an abruptly long sequence of reciprocating terms. Its skills in general are reciprocating terms. You know, they just transmit to hardscaping, landscaping, carpentry. They all have a note breakdown. All of them. Thermal and bluestone, working a saw. They're all multiple series orientation of how you're really looking at it. But at the same time, they're all the same skills, just frag to a Fermat setting in AX plus BX equals CX system. There's your dimensions and your math that makes that work. Reality says they're a Beals conjecture, which is an AX BY CZ system. Timelines change, space changes, the general law Groundhaven way changes. You know, when it's winter, obviously your timelines are going to change from AX BX, making a product, to an AXBY system. Air turbulence equations. You know, I look at myself as an air particle in the equation, and a entropy state of thermodynamics and the laws of motion. You got a furnace in the room, you got a window open, and that radically changes why the blending of those temperatures and ideas make a big difference. So, you know, I try my best to Nova Strokers. Hold on one second here. One more. Oh, it's gonna be butt ugly, huh? All right. There we go. Alright, so that's my day. You know, I'm using power series. I'm trying my best to define those to be the laws. I'm looking at the world as it's coming to me in most general relativity states. That's basically a universe to me, and it's the physics of the world, no matter what shop or factory or landscape I might be dealing with. You know, that there's going to be a certain timeline, that there's going to be physics, And again, they're particles. You may not know their motion or position in quantum mechanics. The rain changes those days, and it helps me quote those. It helps me blueprint my day and map that stuff out so I can better tell you, hey, that's where that particle is right now when you come and ask me. That's how fast it's moving, and therefore I predict it to be right here, this much, when it's time for it to be there. Any officer, any kind of general, you know, we make blueprints like this. We think things like this out. We plan the dimensions, and you know, for me, it's all code. You know, it's all, this letter is here, it's scrambled up during the day, and you're just trying to cipher information out. You're just saying, well, that's gonna knock the momentum of this thing in that position, and it should help you put it right where it's going to be, you know, because moving that fast, it should base those ideas very well. Hold on. One more move. Do one more before we finish here. Almost. Alright, so again, you know, that's, I like to look at the day as if it's my Rubik's Cube. It helps when it helps to know, you know, the orientation. You know, that's just the regular scramble. So that's your resume. You don't know how the orientation is going to come at you. And to kind of know some of that good resume stuff gives you a cheat code almost. You know, it helps me with the daisy pattern and the white cross pattern. And it breaks those steps down, so when I'm ready to get to those other parts, the memorization parts, the computer terminal that takes certain moves, and things like that, that really helps me beneficially have a better system to adapt to those frequencies when necessary, and therefore be able to do something like a Rubik's Cube, or plan today out like, here's the steps that I need to make in order to solve these issues, this problem that is everyday operation, that is not really a problem at all. One thing I'll say is there's no such thing as general labor, only generals doing labor. And that transitions into the idea that there's really no such thing as a problem. Obviously there's problems, but, you know, from a skill set, you know, having a problem is an opportunity to learn a new skill. You always learn those things. When there is a problem in the shop, you have the opportunity to make new laws for that function to make sure that it never happens again. You know, and that's ground you can't make without problems. I like to work out and things like that, so pushing your body to the failure point is the best way to make new muscles. Pushing the machines to the point of failure is a great way to make new systems faster, better, more efficient, more economic, and you find your max and averages in those ideas, you know, whether it be assembly, whether it be cutting grass, and how many of those you can put in the day, learning those landscapes so you can do them over and over again, driving to site A to site B in an efficient manner, kind of mapping those things out. I'm not afraid to take work home with me. Got to figure out blueprints, got to work on my rock sheets, got to blueprint it out for the day, you know, think about my day that I finished out tomorrow. You know, well, it's going to take me a few minutes. I got to do recut pallets and do my block sheets in the morning and do all those things. I got a rookie coming in, so, you know, be ready for safety systems and how to flip rock and how to set things on the table. And another great quote is, if you ever really want to learn something really well, try to teach it. That's one of those things that I take with me all day, every day. And you know, if you kind of live with that idea every day, you know, you're constantly learning, you're constantly always teaching yourself, reinforcing, repetition, these ideas, and, you know, they never get really stagnant on you, and it'll help you stay positive and motivated in the workspace. And you know, your money is my money, so there's a lot of reason. So catch you on the next one.